Hi everybody, it's Erin McGuire here, owner of Pure Light Wellness. Today I wanted to give you a video on managing anxiety. 40 million Americans are suffering from anxiety. That's 18% of our population, and that's just not okay in my opinion. As I shared in my last video, anxiety is a byproduct of an experience you've had. You're not an anxious person, so don't take that on. I see a lot of clients who say, I'm just really anxious, I get really nervous, I'm just kind of a scaredy cat, whatever. And we're taking on all of these ideas about who we think we are, but that's not who you truly are. Your higher self is not anxious. Our divinity, our divine part of ourself is not anxious. We've developed anxiety because we've had experiences in our life that made us become anxious people. But it's not who we are, and we can be healed from anxiety. I see it all the time with my clients. I've had clients come to me that are suffering from panic attacks every single day, and in one session, the panic attacks stop because we're going back to the experiences that cause the anxiety. We're not giving you pills to cover up what's really going on. So I'm a big proponent of, nothing wrong with Western medicine. It's there for good reason. But the amount of pills that are being prescribed for anxiety and depression are out of control and pretty unnecessary in my opinion, because it's covering up what actually is causing the anxiety or the depression to begin with and kind of numbing the person out. So I'm a big proponent in healing the experiences that caused these issues in the first place. So if you want any information on working with me, I can work with people from anywhere in the world. My work works wherever you are, over the phone, and it's a phenomenal way to really go deep in healing where this starts in the beginning. Okay? So today's video, that's my little caveat on anxiety and how I feel about it personally as somebody who suffered from it personally myself. So go back and watch my last video if you want some more information on anxiety and where it might come from. Today's video though is on managing your anxiety. So if you do have anxiety, you want to find ways to manage it. And the biggest ways that have worked for me, number one, is meditation. I say meditation is medicine. That's the medicine I take on a daily basis or as often as I can. Instead of popping a pill to numb my anxiety, if I simply go and meditate, it calms my mind. And the greatest thing about meditation, and I do have a meditation for beginners video if you would like to watch that, go back and find it. The greatest thing about what meditation does, sometimes it's kind of silly. We just think we're just sitting here and, there's not a lot going on, or you're thinking thoughts the whole time. None of that's wrong. But what's great about meditation is once you become aware that you're thinking thoughts and that you've gotten away from the meditation, you simply are bringing yourself back very gently, very lovingly, not like, oh my gosh, I'm not a good meditator. All I'm doing is thinking. No, you're just simply, it's like, it's like you're driving on a street and you're just taking little turns here and little turns there, and it's very easy and gentle. But what you're training your mind to do is that when it wanders off into some of these lands that it does in anxiety of fear-based thoughts, for instance, maybe you're worried about your financial future, or maybe you text your friend and it took her a day or two to text you back, and the whole time you were thinking she's mad at you, and that gave you a lot of anxiety. And so you start all these fear-based thoughts around that situation that aren't even true, right? So we're creating this imaginary world where all these terrible things are going to happen to us that aren't even true for us. So what's beautiful about meditation is the more you do it, just think of it like working out. Sometimes we don't see the results of working out right away, but over time you see your body start to change. Same thing with meditation. You might not see the results right away, but over time, what you're doing is training your mind to come back to the present moment. So the mind goes away, it goes off into some fear-based land, and you bring it back to the present moment. And it goes off and you bring it back. And there's 1,005 different ways to meditate. So just find one that works for you, but that's the reason we meditate, especially if you have anxieties, to really help train your mind, because anxiety is future tripping. You're future tripping about something that hasn't even happened yet, that may never happen. There's a high likelihood that it's never going to happen. And yet we're worrying about it now in our powerful present moment. So the number one way to manage your anxiety is to meditate. And please don't tell me that you cannot meditate. You can. If you're thinking thoughts, that's normal. People think that they can't meditate because they sit there and think thoughts the whole time. That's okay. That'll start to go away. You'll start to have more gaps and feel more peace. But you've got to let the mind kind of run its course a little bit and do the monkey mind thing. And eventually you can learn to slow that down. It takes time. It's just like working out. It's going to take you a minute. So number one way is to meditate. Number two, I think, is breath work. And I have a lot of different videos on different kind of breath work techniques. So I'm not going to go into that here. But breath of fire is a great one. We use this in Kundalini a lot, Kundalini yoga. And it helps to just get the whole body cleansed and cleared and clarified so that your body can be more of a clear vessel for, because otherwise we just have everybody's stuff floating around us all the time. There's just everybody's energy in our space. There's so much going on. There's so much to manage in our world right now. And, cell phones have been a wonderful gift to all of us, but we literally can be distracted and inundated with information non-freaking stop. And that weighs heavily on our system. Our body, our minds were not designed for this. Cell phones are very far ahead of our physical body. And so we need a way to be able to just kind of pause and take all of that in. So the breath work really helps. Also, breath is the life force, energy, and we're not using that to its fullest capacity. So I highly recommend getting a daily breath routine. It could take a minute or 2 minutes, and that's all you need to really feel the benefits of breath work. Third is mantras. Having some mantras you can say when the mind starts to wander. So you're starting to think, oh my God, my friend's mad at me. She's, I know she's pissed off at me because I didn't, do XYZ the other day, or I'm so worried about my finances in the future. How am I, I'm worried that this job isn't going to last and blah, blah, blah. So the mind starts going down that path. And the second you catch it, again, meditation is important for this. The second that you catch it, you just say, that's just an illusion. And I'm choosing not to stay in that story. I'm choosing not to allow that story to become true for me. And I'm focusing here in the present moment and then finding something to be grateful for. I'm so grateful for the money in my bank account right now. I'm so grateful for all my friends that do respond to me or that do love me, that I don't have to question, or whatever the case may be. So you find something to be grateful for in the moment. Gratitude is the key that unlocks peace. If you have gratitude for anything, and in America, it's like we constantly want more, right? The bigger car, the better shoes, the better house, the whatever. And so we think that, we can't be grateful till we have those things. But what about, grateful that you have food in your refrigerator? Grateful that you have fresh water to drink. Grateful that the sun is shining. Find simple things to be grateful for. And I've got more videos on that as well. But so number 1, meditation. Number 2, breath work. Number 3, mantra. And finally, number 4, change the picture. So this is a technique that I gave one of my clients that I like to use imagery a lot when I work with people and when I do work for myself. So it's to close your eyes and imagine this dark, dreary place that's just horrible, from a zombie apocalypse looking scene, and to think about that's where you're at when you're thinking all these negative thoughts. You're in like the zombie apocalypse, and it's horrible and it's terrible and everything's unsafe, right? And then to switch that picture to say that's not where I want to be right now in your mind. And so you switch it to somewhere that feels really good to you. So maybe it's by the beach, the sun is shining, it's the perfect temperature, the water is crystal blue, and there's dolphins jumping, and there's little animals smiling all around you, and it's just so lovely and beautiful. And so that every time the mind is going towards the negative, you're bringing it back to this positive place that feels really good to you. So imagery is a great way. And I lied, there's one more. Number 5 is to just hold your hand over your heart and tell yourself, I'm safe. Because when we are anxious as adults, it's because it's triggering an experience that happened to us in the past where we didn't feel safe, you know? So if there was some sort of traumatic event that you experienced in this moment that you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling triggered by that. It's a reminder of something that happened to you in the past. So just place your hand over your heart and just tell yourself that you're safe, because literally in this moment, you probably are pretty safe. So to just tell yourself that, because a lot of times, a lot of the anxiety we have, again, is future tripping. So it's not happening in this current moment. So to tell yourself you're safe, you're loved, there's people that love you, you love yourself, all of these things are good in helping to reduce anxiety. So let's recap here. Number 1 way to manage your anxiety is through meditation. Number 2 is through breath work. Number 3 is through mantras, changing that story. This is just an illusion. I'm choosing to focus in the here and now, and I'm so grateful for the sun shining on me and having time to be able to experience, you know, life's greatest joys, right? So turning that, reframing the situation out of the negative, because where we focus, we create. Number 4 is changing the picture from that zombie apocalypse to the beautiful landscape that you want to be in. And number 5 is to tell yourself you're safe. So I hope this video helped you. I'm really on a quest to help people be cured of their anxiety. It's just not okay that 40 million Americans are suffering from it, and that's just in America alone. If you have any questions about anxiety or how I can help you, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. I'll leave a link to my website below, and you can sign up and do it. We can do a discovery session so you can find out more about my work. Leave a comment below and let me know how this helped you and where you're suffering from anxiety today, like how it shows up for you. Is it in where you're working through anxiety in this moment, or where you're feeling triggered? Subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends. I'd be so grateful. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again.